The crypto market is getting absolutely crazy over the last couple of days. Now, as you guys might have already noticed, a lot of cryptos in this list are not doing that well. And to be a little bit more specific, coins like Crypto.com are actually down 25%, KuCoin's own token is down 11%, and Solana is down 10% today. Then again, on the complete opposite side, Trust Wallet token is up 70% today, and a couple of other coins are also up pretty significantly. It is just generally speaking a pretty crazy day for crypto. And as you guys hopefully know by now, everything has to do with the massive amount of uncertainty. And again, I do not want to call it FUD because of the way we use that word nowadays. Fear, uncertainty, doubt. People very often use it for something that's unjustified. You say it's FUD when somebody's trying to take things down without any good reason or for own personal gain. In this sense though, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt based upon facts. People are afraid because, in my own opinion, they should be. I kid you not. I have never in my life spent more minutes on my phone than the last, I would say, 3 days. I have spent a unheard of amount of minutes on Twitter, and I will surely look back at this period in my life at some point and think, what in the world was I doing? But it is absolutely that crazy and that interesting. In my 9 years of being in the crypto space, this is by far the most interesting week with the craziest consequences. We've seen way out and the left to right everywhere, just media talking about this crypto space, talking about the good sides, talking mostly about the bad sides. We've had Elon Musk join in on the situation, explaining not your keys, not your coins, and the same thing for the Cardano CEO, the CEO of Binance, CZ, and basically everybody. I'd say the only guys that are not that outspoken are the guys that run the sketchy crypto exchanges. One of those is a crypto exchange that I've basically given my opinion about a little bit earlier in a live stream where we've covered for a little bit that, well, the majority of exchanges, let me just reiterate, the majority of exchanges are probably in a lot of trouble, and there's a couple ones that are not, like for example, Binance and Bybit are looking pretty damn good as of this point. And I've also made a video earlier today explaining what you should be looking for the near future, how you can protect yourself, and what's basically happening next. And that one exchange that I've heard about here is Crypto.com, AAX, and there's actually a couple ones more on that list of either that there's just something strange going on with their funds. For example, here's an article, crypto exchanges Gate.io and Cryptocom appear to be faking proof of reserves. Now, can we prove this? No, as this data has supposedly been debunked by even the CEO or founder of Crypto.com, as it was all a mistake, it's been verified, yada, yada, yada. If you don't know what I'm referring to, there was a 400,000 Now, I believe it's 320,000 Ethereum transfer by Crypto.com to Gate.io, which again is roughly $400 million. However, if you start looking into it, it's pretty strange that they accidentally sent $400 million around, even though it's a couple weeks ago, not necessarily today, because they have such crazy licenses that for every single transaction they do of this size, they need a couple witnesses. I mean, it would be very irresponsible for a crypto exchange to be in a position where a $400 million mistake can happen. Again, this was a whitelisted address. It was good. It was their own address from a exchange, but still, it is kind of wacky. Now, Mario also said, one of the first 100 employees at Cryptocom says, it is almost impossible for a $400 million transaction to be accidentally transferred without manual approval and various checks. I was fired from Cryptocom as I had ethical concerns about how the company was run. Now, mostly for this reason, I have personally decided to take my money off of Crypto.com, and that is also because guys like the Binance CEO Charles Hoskinson and many others are advocating for you keeping your funds in safe storage. I believe this also can be backed up by the fact that you can never really know what's going on in the background. There are going to be many fakesters who said they were right all along, but also people who were warning you, like I'm doing right now with some other exchanges, that you're not listening to or calling dumb. I'm personally not saying take your money off of everywhere and for always. I'm just saying, hey, there's a couple exchanges that I'm just a little bit unsure about as there's too much uncertainty. I don't want them to fall, but I'd rather not take the risk of them falling with my money inside. So if they fall, that's bad. I'd rather just have my money as safe as possible regardless of what happens afterwards. Not your keys, not your coins, right? Now, a good example of charlatan behavior is this little video, by the way. And guys, if you're enjoying these crypto updates, I'm trying to be on it like a freaking hawk. Make sure you press that like button. And let's quickly take a look at what this individual has said. You guys, as of this point, hopefully all know him. We're talking about Jim Cramer.
Look, it was really a nightmare to get your money out.
Well, it's even more of a nightmare
every
for those.
minute. TikTok,
and the Journal
TikTok.
had a story today. People who've lost a year's salary, young people, obviously, who are so disproportionately involved, I think, in crypto.
But how many warnings did they have? How many warnings? How many times did we sit here and say, "Listen, get the hell out of it"? What did you have to do? I mean, honestly, go look at those joke coins that are being traded right now, and ask yourself why. Why are you in them? I think Powerball is worth more. I want to know why people are in those made-up coins.
So, those made-up coins, that is interesting. Yeah, so that's not necessarily the problem, as the Charles Hoskinson was also explaining as well. It's not the meme coins really that are the biggest problem out of all of it. It's one guy basically lying to everybody and behemoths believing him. It's the same thing for VCs, massive VCs. You know, they invest in something, it showcases that they're bullish, you believe it's going to be good, you believe it's not going to be a scam, but even they make mistakes. And in this case here, we all believed, even though I never made an FTX account, we all kind of believed that FTX was run okay, albeit that Sam Bankman-Fried was kind of vague. And actually, there were many people asking questions about it before, but those videos usually always show themselves in hindsight. And actually, before I show that video to you, let me ask you guys again, make sure you press that like button. I'm trying my best every single hour of this day to figure out all these the craziest clips. And so let's quickly watch this one, as honestly, it's just crazy, guys. It's just honestly very freaking wild.
Bankman-Fried, FTX, I've been teeing Cojotes up on this a little bit. How does this guy, how does he keep doing what he's doing?
When anyone tries to pin SBF down on where he made his money, you can't get a cogent answer. And in his trade, you needed real money up front in the place on this country crypto arbitrage to make big money.
Right.
And it's simple things as who financed you, because you clearly didn't have the money. And his partner is a guy named Gary Wang. And no one can find shit on Gary Wang. And he's on the board of advisors of Sequoia. And I shit you not. You look up Sequoia stuff, there's a picture of Gary Wang of his back facing a computer. There's no picture of Gary Wang.
So Gary Wang is the same CTO or the chief technology officer of FTX?
Allegedly.
Okay.
Allegedly. But there's a chief regulatory officer of FTX, and his name is Dan Friedberg. And if you Google Dan Friedberg poker scandal, he was the general counsel of, I don't know if it was Ultimate Bets or one of those Me Too sites, where they basically cheated against players. Then you take into account that SBF is bailing out known Ponzi's and frauds in the crypto space. Everyone who's gone bankrupt or is a proven fraud. And somehow through that, Cartoon Network has painted him as the JP Morgan of crypto, which makes absolutely no sense.
That's what we just saw, right, by Jim Cramer. They called him the JP Morgan of crypto.
He's not the JP Morgan of crypto because he can't sit there, look at you straight in the face, and explain anything. Nothing of this story fits. And normally in stories, I can get 5 or 6 things that fit and move on. But nothing here fits. Everything reads like this thing is a complete scam. And I think this thing is dirty and rotten to the core.
Bankman.
Now, I should add here real briefly that he's a veteran short seller, and I'm not really familiar with his work. It could be that he literally says this about every single company. He said this, for example, about Tesla, about Apple, about Binance, about YouTube, about Google, about Facebook. You guys understand my drift? It could be that this is his most logical way to view things, and he says nothing makes sense. It could be, so take a little bit of a grain of salt when giving him credibility, because this might just be his niche, and finally he was right once, right? So you don't know. But if you start thinking about it, a couple things which he does mention do make some sense. For example, you can see that 134 of FTX's firms filed for bankruptcy. That's a lot, right? And actually, we have the whole structure here as well that showcases just how freaking wild it was, man. I mean, this legal structure, you can't read it really because it's too zoomed in, but that's a difficult-ass construction that took some effort and took some time to properly hide things, properly divide things and whatnot. Now, as the guy also stated earlier, they bailed out some scams, they bailed out some Ponzi's. Not sure if I can say that. What I can say, though, is that the reason that they bailed out was rather strange as well. And Fat Man Terra said a couple months ago, half a year ago already, you have all heard the term hero, bailout, rescue, and help in reference to FTX saving distressed companies. Voyager, one of the aforementioned companies, disagrees. They think that Sam Bankman-Fried's deal is extremely predatory and will actually hurt customers even more. That was half a year ago. Now, however, a BlockFi employee allegedly said, the only reason FTX bailed us out, which they did, they bailed out BlockFi a little while ago, was to get our user funds onto their platform to use in their shell game. They applied immense pressure to get BlockFi funds migrated to FTX custody. And employees were told by executives not to ask questions about the move because at the end of the day, they bailed you out and there's not really too much that you can do. And I'd also like a little second to talk about, for example, people getting very angry about influencers talking about these platforms. And please, guys, take a step back and think. You can't get mad at a BitBoy. You can't get mad at an Anthony Pompliano or a finance influencer for talking about BlockFi. Even though I've never mentioned FTX nor BlockFi on my channel ever, because I've never used both of them, it is quite logical that they did talk about it because, well, even people like Kevin O'Leary, whom we can all agree on is a serial entrepreneur, a business magnate, David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple, and many others of the sort, didn't see through the FTX charade. Because it was not that plain and simple. In the same sense that a person that recommended Bernie Madoff's company structure to a friend of his, I don't think it was necessarily a fraudster for believing in that lie. I mean, there was so many billions of dollars in there. It was mostly behemoths that also fell for that joke. Then again, with all the most recent revelations, the story develops quite significantly to an extent that I'm not even sure if I can cover this stuff over on YouTube. I'm gonna actually try and make a video about the situation later today, but there's a good chance that my channel is either gonna get taken down or I'm gonna get some sort of strike where I cannot upload for a week if I publish this specific report. I'm a little bit afraid to do it, guys, but I think I should because I have not seen many people talk about it on YouTube just quite yet. It's just something that I think is a very risky move on my part, but maybe it will be worth it to enlighten the people. Again, it's being said that they're trying to flee the country. Some of them are to not get apprehended by the police. Some guys are apparently trying to get to the UAE to not be extradited. It also keeps circulating that more and more crypto exchanges are to some extent bankrupt. Again, the Binance CEO said many are bankrupt that are not showcasing it just quite yet. And we have to understand that the more I talk about the negativity, the more I talk about, for example, these things like the Crypto.com situation here with Gate.io and whatnot, the more people will take the money off. But I personally feel it's warranted because even if that were to cause a bank run, it is honestly the way it should be, as at the end of the day, this crypto stuff was made to make sure you have control over your own money at all time, right? That's a very big premise of it all. It is decentralized. So for crypto exchanges to be in a position where they really need everybody's funds on there, otherwise they're going to go bankrupt. It can't rely on, well, mostly market makers basically to handle liquidity. Or they just rely on users' funds to be deposited onto the platform like real banks. These exchanges were not meant to be banks. They were meant to be a platform where you quickly make a trade to purchase or potentially sell your crypto and get it back to your storage. That was what the whole premise of it was. Now, the fact you can have some more significant trades on there warrants some more capital being placed on there, but it's not a place where you should store your cryptocurrencies because what's the point as of that point? What's the point of having cryptos really if you're just going to store them with another company basically? I don't know. But that's just my thoughts on the matter. Guys, I'm going to get you a very controversial video probably later today. Just make sure you press the like button on that one and this one and maybe subscribe to the channel for that update. See you guys again in a couple of hours and I'm already afraid, but we'll do it.